The story begins with Peter, a famous software company owner, and his wife Lisa, a successful fashion designer. The two of them are attending a glamorous fashion show, and from the way Peter looks at her, it's crystal clear. This man adores his wife. Later that night, they're having a romantic dinner, and something about Lisa's eyes says she wants to tell him something. Out of the blue, she asks him a strange question. "If you ever left me, who would you go to?" Peter laughs it off, but Lisa pushes again. "Are you sure you never once met someone you were even slightly drawn to? Felt something for?" He swears, "Since the day I married you 25 years ago, I've never had eyes for anyone else." The next morning, Peter notices that Lisa's still acting distant. When he asks if something's wrong, she brushes it off and tells him she's traveling to Italy for a fashion show. Then, just days later, tragedy strikes. Lisa dies and Peter is destroyed. This was the love of his life, the woman he gave everything to. One day, his daughter Abigail brings him a red shoe that belonged to her mom. Hidden inside is a small folded note, something Lisa left for Peter before she passed. The note only says Lake Como. That night, Peter gathers all of Lisa's belongings, her laptop, her phone, and the note. He doesn't understand what's going on, but he wants answers. Then, suddenly, her phone dings. It's a voicemail from a man, and not just any man. The voice message is romantic. Very romantic. The mystery man says he misses Lisa, that it's been months since he saw her, that he needs to see her again. Peter starts digging. He opens her laptop and scrolls through all her photos, hoping for a clue. Everything seems normal until he finds a folder labeled Love. It's locked with a password. He tries a few guesses. Nothing works. So, he opens another folder titled London where he sees photos of Lisa with her friends, including one guy named Ralph. Peter stares at the pictures. Ralph looks way too close to Lisa in them. Then it gets worse. Peter checks Lisa's email and finds a romantic message from Ralph himself. "I miss you. I want our fun days back. I want you back." That's all Peter needs to hear. Furious, he storms off to confront Ralph at Lisa's office. "How dare you get involved with my wife?" Peter yells. Ralph doesn't deny knowing Lisa. Peter doesn't want to hear it. Then another friend of Lisa's drops a bombshell. Lisa was involved with someone, but no one knows who the man really was. Peter goes home confused. He tells his daughter Abigail what he suspects, but she snaps. "Don't you dare speak like that about Mom." Peter thought he knew everything about his wife, but now he's not so sure. Peter's daughter didn't believe a word he said. She was convinced her mother was loyal, but he goes back home and sends a message to the same email that had written to Lisa. The next morning, Peter walks into his company looking like a ghost. Everyone notices the cheerful, energetic CEO they knew was gone. Peter barely spoke to anyone unless he needed something. And one thing he needed right now, a tech expert. He pulls in one of his top IT employees and asks her to track the location behind the mystery email. At first, she refuses. "That's illegal," she says. But Peter's desperation convinces her. She gets to work. Not long after, another email arrives on Lisa's inbox. This time, it's even worse. The man writes, "I can't believe you're really gone. I thought you were just avoiding me. Don't enter love story like this." Peter is crushed. This wasn't just a one-time thing. This was real. A coworker tries to check in on him, but Peter just stares coldly and asks, "You used to be a cop, right? Know any good places I could buy a gun?" The guy awkwardly laughs it off and walks away, but the tension is thick. Then the IT expert returns with the result. The center's location, Milan, Italy. Peter freezes. That's where Lisa had gone just before she died. Peter tries once again to crack the locked love folder on Lisa's laptop. He guesses password after password until finally he tries the word from the note she left him. Lake Como. Click it opens and inside disaster. Hundreds of photos. All of them of Lisa and the mystery man cuddling, kissing, traveling together. This was a full-blown affair and it had been going on for a long time. Peter couldn't take it. He books a flight to Milan, determined to find the man who wrecked his life. When he arrives, he camps out near the man's building. Finally, he sees someone come out and starts following him.
He watches as the man greets a woman and kisses her, casually heading toward a cafe. Inside, Peter finds him again. The guy's playing chess with the locals, so Peter leaves for now. He needs a plan. That night in his hotel room, Peter reopens the laptop and goes through the photos again. The next morning, Peter's plan begins. He returns to the cafe. This time, he sits at the chess table. Eventually, the man arrives. Peter looks up and calmly asks, "You need this table?" "No, go ahead." The man replies. Peter smiles. "Mind if I play with you?" Peter weighs him in. "Be my guest." The trap is set. They start playing. Peter casually asks, "What's your name?" "Ralph." It's him. The same name from the emails. Peter keeps playing it cool, pretending like he's just making conversation. Ralph opens up telling Peter about his background. Spanish mother, English father, always on the move but now settled in Milan. Peter asks, "You ever been to England?" "Of course," Ralph says. "Actually, I met someone there once. A woman. She was into fashion." Peter clenches his jaw. "Really? And what was her name?" Ralph shrugs. "I don't remember, I swear, but she changed my life." So Peter's sitting across from the man who stole his wife, pretending to be just another chess partner while Ralph, completely unaware, keeps opening his heart. He tells Peter that he and Lisa had been involved for 12 years. 12 years. Peter nearly chokes on air. He clenches his jaw, nods like it's nothing, but inside he's boiling. Ralph starts telling him everything. How they met, how they clicked instantly, how their love story grew stronger with time. And Peter just sitting there listening to this guy describe his wife like she was the one that got away. Meanwhile, back home, Peter's daughter Abigail finally gets suspicious. Her dad's been missing calls, acting strange. So, she shows up at his place and finds her mom's old phone. She plays that voicemail from Ralph, the romantic one. Now she knows Lisa was cheating. So, while Peter's still collecting his sanity, Abigail's out there realizing her mom betrayed their entire family. The next day, Peter goes to meet Ralph again. Why? Because apparently hearing about his wife's affair once wasn't enough. Ralph doesn't hold back either. He talks about every trip, every memory, every little detail about their beautiful connection. And Peter's just sitting there slowly dying inside. He starts connecting the dots. All those times Lisa came home happy from Milan. Peter even goes home and matches Ralph's stories to Lisa's photos. Then in the middle of another chess game, Peter throws Ralph a sharp comment. "You're good at cheating." Ralph thinks he's talking about the game, but we all know what Peter really meant. Ralph, offended, fires back. "I don't cheat. That's not who I am." And just then, his phone rings. The name Lisa. Peter freezes. Lisa's dead. Turns out it's Abigail. She called Ralph just to hear his voice. And what did she hear? A man still madly in love with her mother. Later, Peter and Ralph meet again. And Ralph says something that nearly pushes Peter over the edge. He says, "She's the most incredible woman I've ever met." He keeps praising Lisa like she was some goddess. Peter's fists are clenching, his teeth grinding, but he plays it cool until Ralph says something really disgusting about how women like Lisa need to be tamed like wild horses. That's it. Peter snaps. He throws the whole chessboard across the cafe and storms out fuming. Out in the street, Peter runs into Abigail. She's come all the way to Milan to find her dad and stop him from doing something stupid. She tells him everything. She heard the voicemail call the number and yeah, the guy is definitely still obsessed with her mom. Peter, still furious, drags her back to the apartment and shows her everything, every photo, every message. He reads the emails out loud, even though she begs him to stop. It's too much. Abigail breaks down. She begs him, "Let it go, Dad. What's done is done. You can't change anything now." He grabs a knife, heads out the door, and marches straight to Ralph's apartment, ready to end this. Ralph isn't living in a fancy apartment. He's the building's doorman. All this time, Peter thought he was chasing some rich playboy. When Ralph sees Peter, he's terrified, like actually scared. Peter was done playing games. He walked into Ralph's building holding a hammer, but when Ralph opened the door, He wasn't holding a weapon. He was holding a turtle. Apparently, it was a gift. He bought it for Lisa. Thought she'd find it cute. Peter stared at the thing completely stunned, then just walked away. Back at the hotel, Peter's daughter was getting ready to leave. She begged him again to drop it to let Lisa rest in peace and stop obsessing. But Peter couldn't. He let her go alone. Then he sent Ralph a fake message from Lisa. It said she'd meet him at the hotel, their special hotel. Ralph, he was over the moon, called Peter immediately, so excited he could barely talk. "I want you to come to dinner tonight. I want to introduce you to the love of my life." But before dinner, Ralph brings Peter to this tiny empty apartment in his building, explains his financial struggles, says he just needs a bit of money to make the night perfect, to make it worthy of her. Peter's sitting there looking at this broke, naive man, thinking, this is the guy my wife cheated on me with. But he gives him the money anyway. Ralph buys a new suit, gets a fresh haircut, sets up the table, lights, wine. It's a whole romantic setup, but the person who shows up isn't Lisa. It's Peter. He walks over calm as ever and says, "Sorry, Ralph. Lisa is not coming. She's dead. And by the way, she was my wife." You could hear Ralph's heartbreak from the next room. "What? No, that can't be. She didn't say anything. How did she die? Cancer. And she didn't tell me either. You weren't special, Ralph. She hid it from both of us." And then Peter confesses. Every message Ralph got, it was Peter pretending to be Lisa, just to mess with him, just to feel something. Ralph stunned. Peter's voice starts to crack. He explains how Lisa refused treatment, not because she was brave, but because she didn't want to look ugly. Ralph surprisingly defends her, so she kept her appearance. That's not a crime. She wanted to leave this world the way she liked herself. Peter snaps. "Oh, come on. That's not noble. That's selfish. She left her daughter. She left me and she was cheating the whole time." Ralph fires back. "She lived life her way. She chose what made her happy." And then Peter remembers something a moment from our final days. He gave Lisa a piece of paper and said, "Write down the one place you were happiest. I'll write mine too. If we both write the same thing, we'll know." But Lisa never wrote anything. Even with death around the corner, she kept her secrets. Peter breaks down. All this time, he just wanted answers, some closure, some proof that their life together meant something. But all he got was silence. Ralph quietly tells him, "What we had was real too, Peter. Maybe not the kind you wanted, but real." And just when Peter thought he had it all figured out, Ralph drops one final truth bomb. Lisa loved him truly, deeply. She knew about his struggles. She knew he was broke. And you know what? She paid off all his debts. Peter just stood there shattered. The woman he thought he knew, the woman who stood beside him for 25 years, had a whole other life. And in that life, she gave her heart to someone else. Peter didn't scream. He just walked away. He left Italy, went back to England, and collapsed on his bed. That's when he heard it. Her voice. Lisa's voice like a ghost in his head, telling him to let go, to move on, to finally say goodbye. And he did. Peter arranged a memorial for Lisa. Something small, elegant, beautiful, and yes, he invited Ralph. Yeah, he invited the man who stole his wife's heart. Ralph showed up, nervous, quiet, and when it was his turn to speak, he delivered a heartfelt, poetic tribute. Peter sat there holding it together by a thread, thinking, why did I invite this man? Why am I putting myself through this? Then came Peter's turn. He stood up, looked at the crowd, looked at Ralph, and he was ready to expose everything, to tell the whole room that Lisa had been unfaithful, that this man Ralph had lived a lie with his wife for 12 years. But then he looked at his daughter Abigail, and in one glance, she said everything, and he stopped. Peter took a breath, and instead of shaming the dead, he honored her. He raised a toast to Abigail, his daughter, the only thing he still had because Lisa was gone. Later, he sat with Abigail in a cafe. The air was still, the weight was heavy. He told her, I understand now what Lisa had with Ralph. And then he said what no father ever wants to admit. It hurts to know she was with me for 25 years and 12 of them.
She was loving someone else.
Abigail, wise beyond her years, looked at him and said, "Maybe she loved you both, Dad."
Maybe that's why she never left either of you.
Peter just nodded quietly, then looked at her and said, "You know what scares me now, Abigail?
That one day you'll understand that kind of heartbreak.